So good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for coming here. It's an honor to be here in the Center of Innovation, San Francisco. I think that's where technology meets creativity, and I'm super excited today to explore how we reinvent operational processes with Agentic ERP. Whether you join here in the room or virtually, thank you for doing that. And I hope you're all ready to ignite the future of ERP with me. There is this concept Microsoft is talking about. It's the frontier firm, and this is basically where businesses fully adapt AI and really transform the way how they basically work. And I think Agentic ERP is super important in this transformation. And the reason why is because ERP is where your real business happens. It's the nerve system which runs finance, supply chain, operations, and people. And it already holds a very rich and very contextual repository of data. So if you really want to rethink how AI can change your business, you should start basically where your business processes live. And therefore, this session, we wanted to give you a better understanding of what the future of ERP holds in a frontier firm and basically how we're already delivering on this vision. So I would say let's go into it. And there is two important concepts. The first one, every employee will have a copilot. And the second one, every business process will have agents. So basically, agents will communicate with your system of records, and employees will communicate via Copilot with your agents. And this basically means we are reinventing the app and the platform stack. And this is kind of how we reimagine how we think about business applications. And we're not just adding AI on top of ERP. We're really rebuilding ERP from the ground up to adapt it to the way basically work gets done in a frontier firm. And we are fundamentally rethinking the stack and asking, what if instead you are working in your ERP system, the ERP system works for you? And this is what Agentic ERP is becoming, an intelligent operation system for any kind of functions you have in your company. So in the past, apps basically were your interface. Workflows were hard-coded. Data was sitting in tables. But I think in an AI-first world, it's very different. Copilot becomes your UI, and natural language, not forms, is the way how users interact. The second layer, agents become this execution layer. They can basically orchestrate, they can do exception management, they can do automation across systems. And the third layer, knowledge replaces raw data. AI can turn structured data, unstructured data into reasoning-ready knowledge. So together, people, agents, and Copilot, they form this new loop of business processes, of decision-making at scale. And this is just a platform evolution. I think this is a paradigm shift. And what you see is how we make this happen. This is basically our blueprint for ERP, and these are also our investment areas. So this is basically based on three powerful layers. So the first one, it's the ERP Agent Foundation. That's basically where Copilot Studio, our agent platform, meets ERP logic. So that's basically where agents are getting business know-how. The second layer is basically our headless business services. These are modular, composable building blocks that let you scale and adapt. And then the third one is this Copilot adaptive experience, which basically wraps around these layers, and it becomes a new engagement layer. This is just not a new UI. It's a new way how to interact with systems. People chat, Copilot understands, and agents can get to work. So basically we said user interact via Copilot with agents. But how are agents getting created? How are agents interacting with your system of record? So let's go into the first question. ERP agents are created in the ERP Agent Foundation. So this is where agents get real business know-how. These agents understand your roles, your processes, your goals, so they can not just respond, they can also act. And they are secure, they're accurate, they can scale right off the box, and it's just not about first-party agents, it's also about enabling our ecosystem with third-party agents and also customers to really fully expand this potential in the ERP space. Let's think about the second question. How do agents interact with your system of record? And the answer here is MCP, our Model Context Protocol. This is the orchestration layer which makes Agentic ERP possible. It gives agents a human-like way to interact with our Dynamics 365 business logic in a secure, consistent, and scalable manner. And this helps us to scale really the innovation of ERP, make it open, composable, and agent-ready from the ground up. And underpinning all of this are the headless business services. And these are the modular composable building blocks that, connected by MCP, can be used to interrogate your ERP system, to make updates, to make changes, and run basically workflows. And together these layers make ERP not just smarter, but fundamentally different. So let's look a little bit in more details into this ERP agent foundation. We have already shipped many agents in productive use, and here you just see a couple of examples. We are covering a lot of ground in ERP already. We have agents in procurement with the supplier communication agents. We have agents in field service management with our scaling optimization agents. We have agents in finance for reconciliation. We have agents for time entry. We have agents for approval management. We have agents for expense management. Specifically, expense, approval, and time are super interesting for service firms because the faster you're able to send out invoices, the sooner you'll get paid, the better it's for your cash flow. And if you have Dynamics already live, hopefully in your company, just activate these agents and be part of this agentic journey. I mean, these are great examples to demonstrate the future of ERP, but why did we choose these agents? And the reason why we went into this area is because we think there's a huge business benefit attached to it. If you think about agents communicating 24/7 with your suppliers to confirm purchase orders and do changes if needed to keep time delivery for customers, or no more waiting basically for your orders to be basically delayed before you can act. Or if you think about agents in reconciliation, they can help you with reconciling the subledger, the main ledgers, the bank statements, and help you to close books faster and be compliant. So without agents, reconciliation is just mundane. And we talked about it, but without agents, service firms, they normally end up inaccurately invoicing, normally under-invoicing customers for the hours spent, and of course at the end losing revenue and delaying getting paid. So let's look at one of these agents in action. So I would like to ask Anne to come on stage and show us one demo of the supplier communication agent. So Anne, please, stage is yours.
Thanks, Georg. So I'm going to show you how our customer lifetime products uses the supplier communication to improve procurement efficiency, boost supply chain resiliency, and de-risk inbound supply. We're in Dynamics 365, where we're logged into the immersive home user interface. And right in front of me, I can see some proposals from the supplier communications agent. Now, Lifetime processes thousands of purchase orders monthly to procure materials for sales and production. And oftentimes with the speed of changes or the volume of changes, they're not able to process everything within the same day, which can give them less time to react to changes in the supply chain. But I see first we have this notification from the supplier communication agent that it can speed up updates in purchase orders. So let's try it out. All I have to do to get started is give the agent access to our procurement inbox and activate it. What it does then is, as we receive emails from our suppliers about changes or updates to purchase orders, I get a notification right in my flow of work that I have some updates to review. So let's take a look. And it's very clear the agent takes that body of the email, brings it to me right inside of my flow of work in Dynamics 365. and shows me what the supplier said. But it goes a step further than that. It even mapped to the specific purchase order based on the data in the email and looked at the details in the email and mapped them to how it changes the purchase order lines. So now all I have to do is take a quick look over, staying human in the loop, and apply the suggestions, and my purchase order is updated. That change happened in no time. On this next change, I noticed that the agent flagged to review one column mapping. We take a quick look at the email from the supplier, and I noticed they do use the word quantity a few times in the email. So we'll check on that column mapping. It was the confirmed quantity that the agent proposed to map as our purchase order quantity to be updated. That looks good to me. So we will say, good for the mapping, apply all suggestions. And just like that, we can get through all of our purchase order changes in a much more efficient fashion, leaving us time to react to changes in the supply chain as quickly as possible. And it's not just processing inbound updates. The supplier communications agent gives me another suggestion. It can send emails to vendors who haven't confirmed open purchase orders. And when we get that last minute yes or no from a vendor, it can increase the risk that maybe that material we thought was coming in isn't going to come in on time and put us in a last minute situation. So instead, the agent proposes a rule to draft an email to follow up on unconfirmed purchase orders. It lets me control the tone, the data that's included, specifically which purchase orders we should follow up on, and even a custom signature we might want to provide. So we activate that, and the agent finds all the different purchase orders that meet the criteria of our rule and drafts an email to send to each of our vendors and remind them that they have unconfirmed purchase orders with us. Now, I can stay human in the loop, review every single one before it's sent out, or we can even hand this task fully off to the agent for it to run autonomously and let it send emails on our behalf. Your choice. As time goes on, I get to monitor the agent's activity. I can see that volume of emails received and followed up POs as it works, and the time savings that it's brought to me and my team. And it's not just monitoring the activity. We can control agents right within Dynamics 365. We can update the logic that they're using. We can turn rules on and off. I am staying in the driver's seat, which is really, really critical. So really quick, that's how we saw Lifetime use the supplier communications agent to speed up purchase order updates, which increases your supply resilience. And we saw them de-risk inbound supply by proactively following up with vendors on unconfirmed supply orders. Back to you, Georg.
Thank you, Anne. Let's give a big hand of applause. Thank you for the demo. I think it's a great demo to show agents and actions a little bit, the concepts we explained before, how they come to life. But let's give it another spin from a customer perspective and talk about Lifetime products. As a Lifetime products, they were not just an early adopter of our agents. They were testing our ERP solutions and gave feedback. They pushed boundaries, and they helped us basically to make this agent now an out-of-the-box agents available to everyone. And I think that's a great example on how we build customers together with agents together with customers instead of agents for customers. So let's hear it from Lifetime Products directly. We have two members of the Lifetime Products team here in our room. So please welcome with a hand of applause, Sinahi Lopez and John Bowden on stage. Thank you. So thank you for joining us here. And let me maybe try to summarize Lifetime Products. You guys are famous for high quality, innovative outdoor products for recreation and home use durable growth products. And I think, at least if I look at my neighborhood, I think everybody has a Lifetime basketball hoop in their front yard. But my question is, how are AI agents helping you with that?
Georg, thank you for having us here today. Lifetime appreciates the conversation. At Lifetime, it's really all about agentic AI, specifically how it's tied in with Dynamics 365. A lot of them are out of the box, like you showed with supplier communication agent or account reconciliation agent, and some of them are customized. But we've spent quite a bit of time in the last 12, 18 months really making sure that we've transformed our business to agentic AI.
So it's all about agents. That's great. Did you also see, impact at Lifetime Products?
We have. We've seen great impact, and we use a lot of lean manufacturing tools like Kaizens and tools like tack times, so that we can measure and understand and hold ourselves accountable for those results. There's so many agents being born, if you will, at Lifetime, that it's getting to the point that that we see that pretty soon it'll lead us to more of an orchestration of agents than just individual agents working by themselves.
And I think you talked about this concept of rebalancing. I think this was an interesting one. If you could maybe talk about this one.
Sure. So you're right. Rebalancing is a word that Lifetime uses to re-architect our labor and our workforce at Lifetime. The part of our mission statement at Lifetime is to provide opportunities for our people. And the way we use agentic AI is we will go in and either out of the box or a custom agent with Dynamics 365, automate an area of the company. And then after that, we hold ourselves accountable by rebalancing that labor and giving them an opportunity to work somewhere else in the company. Because of course that particular part of the company is now fully automated.
So I think this concept of rebalancing, at least I feel this is really important for creating organizational trust. But if you talk to CFOs, of course, they also ask about, how do you measure the business benefit of agents? And maybe Sinahi, if you have a point of view there, how do you do this at Lifetime Products?
Yeah, for out of the box, you explained a little bit, and so did Anne, on the 2 out-of-the-box agents that we've implemented and are working through and we're seeing success with. Account reconciliation, for example, has allowed us to be more proactive instead of reactive with monthly reconciliation. Excel sheets, as everybody knows worldwide, is just the way we do math and accounting. And we've been able to get, believe it or not, accounting people out of Excel sheets to believe and trust a system like account reconciliation. They get their exceptions, they're able to look at them clearly and go and set up an agent to do their general entries, get those exceptions out of the way, and easily move on with what they need to do. On the supplier communication, same thing. The example that Anne showed is truly what it's doing for us. It allows us to not have to focus on our emails daily, follow up automatically, we call it, with our supply chain people, and get focused on the business that we need to run.
Also, I like the finance examples. I think it helps you to close books faster, which basically means you have data available faster, which means you can do strategic decision making faster. I mean, I know we're all in the beginning of this AI transformation, but I was wondering, how do you see the future of AI at Lifetime Products, how it's shaping out?
Let me answer that one. I mentioned before, a lot of these agents, they're coming out of the box with Dynamics 365. Lifetime has also focused on customized agents that, that right now are affecting customer service. We can see that the return on these agents are accelerating at such a fast rate that in our future, we really need to introduce orchestration of agents instead of individual agents working by themselves. We really see that as part of Lifetime's future with agentic AI.
So what you're saying is you're seeing basically agent orchestration as the future. So agents working with agents working with humans, and this all coming together.
Exactly.
What other agents do you have in use at Lifetime?
What other agents do we have in use at Lifetime? So we have a couple agents that are customized, other than the ones that are coming out of the box with Dynamics 365. One that we've seen that is fairly small, that is pretty potent, is just an LLM agent that facilitates our HR handbook. That one really seemed to take off quickly. That way, an employee can just ask this agent, how much PTO do I have if I've been at the company this long? So easy questions like that to take the burden off of HR. Another one is surrounding our customer service department, how they gather information, and we save them time by introducing an agent there.
So it's really across all the business functions. And I assume now employees are deeply engaged in AI. I know, Sinahi, if you have a point of view there,
Yeah.
how you see this from an employee perspective.
Yeah, I think it's a twofold answer there. On the front end, there's agents like Copilot, right? It summarizes information at your fingertips inside D365. A lot of our users are new and entry level to agents and AI, and so it can be a little scary, but Copilot is so powerful inside of D365 because it gives you summarized information at your fingertips, and they even forget that it's there because they can easily go into accounts receivables, they can go into procurement, or they can go into sales and see that information there readily available. On the other end, it's gotten creative juices flowing across the company, like John just explained. Areas are looking for ways to use agents and AI and be more productive.
Also, thank you for being such a great partner, and I know you have been on this journey for many, many months already. I get this question also very often. Do you have any bits of advice, for customer thinking, moving from an on-premise system to Dynamics to AI, based on your experience, what would be your advice to them?
Okay, I get that question every now and then. When you go to Dynamics 365, especially from a legacy ERP, I think you have to keep in mind that you're really transforming your company not from a legacy ERP to another ERP system. You're really transforming your company from that system to an AI-first system, an agentic AI system, to an agentic ERP system. Lifetime is a USA manufacturer, so it is so important for us to use Dynamics 365 with its agents to make sure that we can keep our innovation at the speed of AI, and because of that makes really a big difference at Lifetime.
Thank you for sharing this advice, and maybe to end this interview with something which made you smile. Are there any moments where AI made you smile? I don't know, who is the smile expert here? Sinahi?
One of the things that I enjoy the most in my job and my position daily is in this AI world, being able to produce and deploy an agent, for example, and making it easy, right? A magic moment for us at Lifetime. We have retail stores across the Wasatch Front in Utah and Idaho, and we've been able to automate a very tedious process for our retail stores. Our assistant managers and managers used to have to come in an hour to two early to do the reconciliation of sales orders and Dynamics, make sure that they were packed and delivered, and that we could get them flowing to our accounts receivable department for invoicing. And that took 2 hours in a dozen stores. That was a lot of time. We were able to, a few months ago, actually about a year ago, deploy an agent where it does this while they're sleeping, So they come in the morning, they're focused on their sales force, they're focused on their people, they're focused on the floor, on how they sell more. And actually tonight, we're going live with the second part of that, which will make it completely touchless. So now the agent will expand, it'll send an email to the manager saying, this is what we closed out, this is what we did for you, and invoicing, because it's touchless, is saying invoice it without me looking at it. So our sales orders will be completely touchless, and that's a huge moment for us.
That's a great example. So more sleep, more smile is the logo. So thank you for your partnership. This interview made me smile. Thank you for betting on Microsoft, and thank you for being part of this event. Big applause to Sinahi and John.
Thank you.
It's always fascinating and inspiring, to listen to a customer perspective, how they basically move to this frontier future. But I wanted to emphasize, it's not just about the out-of-the-box agents we're delivering from Microsoft. It's also about accelerating the ecosystem through our MCP protocol so that we can have third-party agents and also custom agents built on it. And I think Agentic ERP is not just a tool. It is really a team of digital agents, working tirelessly, to basically help you to run your business. And I don't think a single vendor can deliver all these agents, nor in time or quality. So that's why we're making Dynamics ERP, the most agent-ready ERP platform in the market. So Microsoft will focus on agents which are focused on horizontal business processes. Our partners already building micro verticals on top of it, and these agents will be available in Microsoft Store. And of course, customers can then build on top their own agents using MCP and our agent platform. And this is just the beginning, the dawn of this new agentic ERP world, and I wanted to also celebrate and call out our partners who are already building on the MCP server and being part of this preview. And just see a couple of examples here. We have 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗏, they're experts in equipment management. So they have an agent for this one. We have 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗏 focusing on quality management. We have FellowMind, they have the inbound performance agents. RSM, they know shop floor very well, so they have agents in shop floor management. And there's also KPMG with the supplier performance management. HSO doing a lot of agents already. I think one example I will also show here is the Bayflow agents and sign-up. They help you to manage downtimes for any kind of product. So just a few examples on how MCP will enable this flywheel of agent innovation through our ecosystem. So let's wrap it up and let's bring it to life. So let me show you how easy it is to make your own agent with Copilot Studio and using our Dynamics MCP server. So let's roll the video.
In Copilot Studio, a maker can simply describe what they want an agent to do. In this case, they want to create an agent that will review new requisitions against company policies, find the best suppliers for each product, and issue purchase orders to those suppliers. They name it, press create, and then add concrete capabilities and reasoning, choosing an MCP server for ERP. This model context protocol catalogs and coordinates the actions agents can perform and the data they can access to complete complex goals. These can be modified at the server level without touching client code, and can even use additional MCP servers made by partners to integrate with multiple systems. With that set, simply publish. And with that, the procurement agent is up and running, ready to transform requisitions into point of sale, and point of sale into products in hand, helping to ensure critical supplies reach their destination on time and in full.
So I think it's a great video and shows how MCP enables our most agent-ready ERP. So with that, let's take now a closer look into our headless business services. And for that, I would like to welcome Sameer Verma on stage. So Sameer, stage is yours.
Thanks, Georg. First they called the ERP back office, and now they call it headless. No offense to anybody, but this whole headlessness of ERP is where the whole, I would say, the entire elegance of MCP server kind of comes into play. So even though we hear a lot about the logic sort of getting delegated to agents, there's some time till this whole what we call as back office or the ERP today kind of disappears, right? It's not going anywhere. Most of the logic, most of the process fidelity, your end-to-end pieces are still lying there. What we are doing merely is exposing this with the MCP to the agents, because the agents still need to know the process fidelity. They leverage everything that comes with the modularity of each of the elements that make an ERP. So ERP isn't going anywhere. MCP access is just making it super elegant. Now, if you remember in May this year, when we started talking about the whole model context protocol for ERP, we talked about releasing 13 actions, which was hardly anything. Now, this is also very important because when we are talking about the entire vision of agentic ERP, MCP is the standard on which all of Microsoft is snapping. It's not just the Dynamics piece, right? This is where our partners will build. This is where you as customers will build. but also the entire ecosystem of products that we have at Microsoft will build, right? So that's the strategy. That is where we are snapping. Now, the important thing is that, you should be able to expose this on multiple fronts, which means that, it's not just a few set of actions. Everything that a user can do on an ERP should be available to be able to be done from the MCP layer. So between May and now, we are over 500,000 actions, right? So I just checked today morning, it was about 650,000, but it sounds better to say 500,000, so I'm sticking to that. Now, pretty much everything that a user can do is available for MCP actions. Now, this is not the end. There's a lot more that will happen. And here's why it's important to understand how we are approaching it. So at this stage, we are looking at 3 MCP servers. There can be scenarios where you potentially want to work with the data directly. So you want to manipulate or work on updating tables, et cetera. So the more specialized we go, the better the agents can do their job, right? That's the reason why we are really splitting it out. It's not for the sake of creating lots of MCP servers. The idea is that, okay, if you want to work on tables, you work directly with the Dataverse MCP. But if you want that process fidelity, if you want the agent to do what typically your users do, think of certain autonomous actions that need to happen in the system, that is where you leverage the one for ERP. And then we have a third one, which is my most favorite one. This is where we are creating the analytics MCP, which is based on our product called BPA, Business Performance Analytics. The whole idea, the premise, the vision behind this is that today, all of your analytics is a very static one, which means that you have predefined dashboards, you have predefined criteria on which you get your information. Whereas we are navigating to the world where pretty much every human being will have their own analyst. You can ask questions and get very exploratory information. And from there, you can create dashboards, et cetera. The good news is that it's not yet there, so there's a lot of work happening there. That's the third one that's going to be out soon. Now, the idea really is that the more tools we provide, the more narrow focus that we provide, the better the agents can do. And they will interact across these MCP servers to deliver the outcome that you need. So with that, and there's actually a lot more session happening on MCP where you can listen to sort of more details. Jared's going to be doing sessions as well. But what I wanted to come back with this particular slide is that it's not just the dynamics which is coming into play. As I said earlier, the entire Microsoft ecosystem of products is coming to life with the MCP servers. One of the big examples, which has also been announced today, is the Windows MCP server. Georg was talking earlier about the expense management agent. Now, a lot of you have traveled. I don't know anybody who loves doing expenses. It's one of the most disliked activities after any kind of trip. Now, we are moving to a stage where you can basically save your receipt anywhere in your Windows file server. With the Windows MCP and our expense agent, it basically goes and finds that corresponding receipt and the agent attaches that to your expense. So that's the power of it. And again, it's not getting limited to just Windows. It will grow over time. So that being said, I want to move to the next piece of the 3 layers that Georg shared. We are really looking at this whole paradigm shift of how you engage and interact with ERPs. I have never met an ERP user who says they love their user experience. Never. Regardless of vendor, whether it's Dynamics or anything else. But what happens is that we are also moving towards a generation of users who are going to be probably even less tolerant about the ugly UIs or the experience that most of the ERPs present today. So we are moving towards this world, which is kind of what Georg was earlier mentioning, that every employee will have a copilot and every business process will have an agent. Now, there's also a subtle difference between how you interact with a copilot and how agents interact with you, which means that typically, I jokingly say that you play 20 questions with a copilot, you keep asking it questions, you prompt it, right? Whereas when you move towards the agentic business processes or these autonomous processes, this is where the agent prompts you. The example that you saw in the supplier communication agent, there was not a lot of back and forth that was really going on. The agent was doing a whole bunch of things, and then basically you had this dashboard where you could go and see what it did, and the agent prompts you or tells you that, hey, I could take over this task as well. That is the future towards which this entire adaptive experience is going. And of course, it's been a journey. And this journey really has been, all the way from us starting with this very simple Q&A. Actually, the way we started was even interesting. We inserted a whole bunch of summarization, Copilot summarization into our product, and we kept it on by default. Funnily enough, a lot of our users didn't even notice. As Sinahi was mentioning earlier, it's there for people, but not a lot of people notice. So we made some noise about it. From there, we went to very simple things like introducing a documentation Q&A. We saw that in warehouses, people had a lot of contingent workforce, so you don't want to train them, right? So how can you get them to just ask questions and move on from there, right? Then we allowed customers to put their own data sources so that their employees could not just look at what Dynamics provided, but also their own data sources. And this has kind of evolved, right? You can go into very personalized, contextual spaces. And this will kind of evolve more towards very specific custom skills. You can call specific agents because this ecosystem is going to grow. You're going to build agents, your partners are going to build agents, and we are going to ship stuff as well out of box. So to bring this to life, I want to invite Jared on stage to show the art of possible. Jared.
All right. Thank you, Samir. All right, let's wake up my session. So the F&O sidecar chat panel in the F&O client provides a valuable tool for very contextual, customizable experiences that assist you in the flow of the application as you're doing your work. And one of the very powerful components of the sidecar chat panel is its extensibility, enabling you to build custom experiences that assist you in the flow of work and fit to your organization and what your organization needs. There are a couple of new enhancements to the sidecar chat panel that we're going to highlight in this demo. The first one is this. As you see on screen, we have our zero prompt experience. That's very contextual. I can provide, in the context of the application, understanding the form I'm on, provide options for prompts to the end user to get them started in their conversation at the start of that chat session. So for example, if I want to create a new order, and in this example, I'll say create a new order, and it automatically populates the prompt in that chat panel so I can get started. The next enhancement that we want to highlight is the ability to upload an attachment into my chat session. And in this case, what we want to do is we want to create a purchase order. So I'm going to take that PDF that I've received as an order from my customer as a PDF. I'm uploading it into my chat session, and I'm using a generative prompt that is now running through this PDF. It's extracting all of the unstructured data in that document, turning it into structured data, and inserting it into my application as a new record. So we see that it's completed. It gives us a hyperlink to the new record, but I'm going to refresh on this screen to show that new record available here in my list of sales orders. If I open that up, we see the new order from my PDF. I had two line items on it, and I can then move on to the next process of reserving the items for that. And when I look at this record, let's look at the inventory and see what physical inventory I have available for this. And I see that I have no physical inventory available. This is one of my high priority customers, so my next step is I got to go find some inventory so that I can fulfill this order for my high priority customer. If I then have another 0 prompt, it's going to fill in details. It's going to go look through the application so I don't have to leave the context of my record. It's going to use generative AI to go and run a query that looks across my data and finds the information that I'm looking for so I don't have to leave the record that I'm working on. I then see that I have a couple of other records where I have for other customers that have reserved quantity against this item, and I can then break that reservation on these lower priority customers. So if I take 000860 and break that reservation, another one of my actions is to break that reservation. Because I've selected 000860 for item 4200, and I want to set that new reserved quantity on my other one, I need 100 of my new items, so I'm going to give myself a little buffer here, and I'm going to kick that off. What this is doing is it's a custom action that's available that I've added to my sidecar chat experience that uses the new Model Context Protocol server to run through the application and perform that operation to break that reservation on the item that I asked it to. Another tool set that we have available to us, you see that I'm using adaptive cards. So we can provide that experience to the end user so I don't necessarily have to do prompts every time. We can use those no-code tools that are available in the Power Platform to perform these operations and create a clean experience that lets me perform those operations in my chat without having to leave the context of the application. So it is running through the MCP server, and if all goes according to plan, Samir, we know how it is with live demos. We know how live demos, there we go, all right. It completed successfully. So we see the reservation for item 4200 on the sales order that I broke is now available, and so if I refresh, I should see that I now have physical reserved quantity available for me. I can reserve the lot, and I can continue in this operation. So it's with no code, I can create these experiences in my sidecar chat panel that assist me in the flow of the application and really create these good contextual experiences in the F&O client. Back to you, Samir.
Thanks, Jared. So I'd always say, you know, if things don't work, blame the internet. Now, I don't know how to switch back to my slides. Let me see if that worked. At least the last time we weren't able to. I really need my slides. Awesome. It needed just 2 people to get there. Now, the sad news is that you're going to see the same slides, so nothing new. And now need my clicker to work. So let's go behind here. Oops. All right, so it's summary time, right? Like, I think what we did today really is, you know, Georg talked about the entire model context protocol, the entire ERP agent foundation. Now, this is crucial because the important thing to understand and take away is that we are not just bolting on things to an existing ERP. This is a true transformation, and this is a lot of hard work. There are things that we are going to get fine. There are things that we may not get it fine. But the importance of being a frontier firm is really being on that, you know, I call it the bend of innovation, where you need to try things out. You can't wait for a perfect platform and a perfect product and then start your journey. So we have shipped quite a number of products, quite a number of agents in our portfolio already. The time to get started is today. And this entire transformation is happening at every layer. The beauty of all of this is that you are a participant in this transformation. Whether you're a partner, whether you're a customer, you know, you don't have to just consume things that we are shipping. This is also an opportunity to build things in context of ERP, in context of your business processes across the board, whether it is your agents, whether it is your UI, or just Copilot interactions. And there's a whole bunch of sessions that are planned for the next couple of days. Remember, this is just the kickoff. You know, there's Jared, there's April, Sigita, Rupa, all of them are going to do a lot of sessions throughout Ignite. Make sure you take the time to attend them and get as much information as possible and get engaged. So on that note, thanks a lot for being here.